The Tampa Bay Rays want a new $2.3 billion ballpark, and they want an answer from local leaders by June the 1st. That's the deadline the Rays CEO has set to get clarity on financing. The proposed stadium would sit on land currently used by Hillsborough College, and the city and the county would need to contribute roughly about $1 billion in public funding. A key unresolved question is whether Hillsborough's halfpenny sales tax can legally be used for the stadium construction. Now, during the campaign to renew this community investment tax back in 2024, voters were told that it would not be used to build a stadium, but the language on the ballot was not as clear. Now commissioners are being asked to take a look at this. The Rays warn that without a deal, they may look elsewhere.
$2.3 billion is a lot of money for a ballpark. A lot of people have questioned whether it really needs to be that expensive.
That reaction coming from Hillsborough County Commissioner Harry Cohen during their first look at financing last week. Tampa City Council will get its chance to discuss the ballpark at a meeting that's happening at the City Hall on May the 5th. I'd like to start with you, Nina. Tell me about the timeline and how tight this all is.
Yeah, so the Rays have set a June 1st deadline for the city, the county, the Tampa Sports Authority to come to final agreements, and that's because they want to open a ballpark by 2029, so that's a pretty swift timeline. But as we've seen at that recent County Commission workshop, there are still lots of questions. So I think it's a question as to whether city and county will rush to meet those deadlines, or continue expressing their questions and be able to meet that June 1st deadline.
I would suggest that their deadline doesn't have a whole lot to do with building the stadium in the time frame. I think what it has to do with is funding for new HCC college campus. Legislature has a couple special sessions left, and nobody's given any money yet to rebuild these buildings that the Rays want to tear down. And if they don't get this money through in this session, they're going to have to wait a year. And that means their whole situation gets a lot slower. And so my understanding is they've heard from the legislator that they're not going to pass any money until they have a local agreement here, and so they want this local agreement now.
So, Akash, what were you going to say?
I think that there's no doubt that the county commission and the city council want to keep the Rays in Tampa. They just got to get more creative on the funding. As far as the deadline, I think that's a moving target. I mean, the Rays, they have to let us as the community and the elected leaders come up with more creative ways to finance. This is just day one.
Yeah, there's so much to weigh. A lot of voters are saying, are looking at the economic impact for the future, whereas others are saying this is too much money. So you've got the critics and the supporters on two different planes. When you look at the economic studies that have been done, they are projecting that perhaps in Drew Park, that neighborhood could possibly generate $97 million in property tax revenue if this is approved over 22 years. Chairman Ken Hagan has said that the economic studies that he's looking at show a $75 billion economic impact over 30 years. How do you see this?
Well, AECOM, who did the study, will tell you that there's a lot of things that they did get answered that wasn't answered by the Rays. And so a lot of this is just taking the assumptions that they've written down on paper and saying that we're going to have 4,000 units of this and we're going to have a mix of office, and them saying, well, let's put a number on this, and without questioning, are these things really going to happen? So the economic study is not rock solid, I would say. The other issue is that even if they produce a tremendous amount of tax revenue on the site, they want to eat all that tax revenue up. So they don't want to use the tax revenue created in Drew Park for police and fire. They want to use it to pay for operating costs for the Rays and for maintenance for the Rays building. So this isn't money that the community is going to get. This is money that they're just going to eat up themselves.
And it's going to cut from organizations like Visit Tampa Bay. If the 6 penny cent tax pass, Visit Tampa Bay will get cut, as will the Tampa Bay Convention Center. That's where tourism is huge here. So we have to be creative and make sure we don't take away from other organizations.
What are the Bucks looking at in terms of the area, how it could change for them, because they're right across the street from this site?
I know parking's going to be an issue.
Yeah, right now we're going to have a hard time, and when I say we, I'm on the Sports Authority, we're going to have a hard time providing them with a number of spaces if the Rays go under construction and take up everything at HCC site. And in our agreement, if we don't have enough spaces for them, we have to write them a check. And so that means the public is going to have to write the bucks a check for parking that's missing. So it's a very big concern. We're having to scramble because, of course, this is all on short term. And HCC, while they haven't renewed the lease, we don't know if they're going to have construction on that site or not.
Nina, when you look at it and you're talking to folks doing your stories, what's the sentiment? Is it shifting in favor or against, or just staying straight?
I think it really depends on who you speak to, and I think that's the case on the City Council and the County Commission as well. You know, there's a couple of folks who we know will not vote for this deal. Charlie Miranda, for example, City Council member who, famously wore all black suits for months when the Bucks deal was approved in the 90s, and he started wearing all black suits again to City Council. And then there are other folks who look at, the AECOM economic study and say that this development is going to pay for itself. And then there's a lot of folks in the middle on the County Commission and the City Council who are not quite sure yet.
But I do disagree with Patrick. We've talked about it. I think the governor and the legislature will come to some solution where they will, before the budget's passed, that Hillsborough College will get some sort of funding. I mean, Senator Burgess passed a bill that appropriated $50 million. I know it didn't pass in the House, but there'll be some solution this year.